I'm Dr. Samantha Johnson. I am the curator of the Layman's Doctor, and I'm also a Jamaican medical doctor. The Layman's Doctor is all about bridging the gaps between healthcare workers, clients, and the healthcare system. I have created a branding guide that is primarily focused on healthcare workers, but trust me, there are a lot of topics that you can relate to even if you're not necessarily in healthcare. But I use a lot of these in my own personal brand, and as I'm trying to grow my brand, I figured I would take some of the lessons and mistakes that I have learned and made and help others with it. I have had a website since 2018 and I've gone through so many different phases of my website. Hopefully I'm in my last phase, but I have been trying to take the time to really build and grow my website. I'll be by myself. Eventually I'd love to reach that point where I can be like, hey, can you please build my website? Give me a quote. Here is some money. But we're going to talk about why you need a website. Now, when everything is online, having a website is a really great idea. And a website is really just a collection of web pages that are connected to one another. And, YouTube is a website. It has lots of videos. It has a community page, all sorts of things. And they're all really connected, and then it's all housed under a particular domain name, which is just kind of like a name to say, hey, this section of the internet is mine and I own everything that comes under it. So you having a website really means that you get to kind of own some content under your conditions, in your name, in a place that is all yours. So what are some benefits to having a website? And I definitely spoke about some in the intro, but again, you get to have everything in one place. Yes, we have Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, but what if one day, like when they threatened to pull down TikTok, imagine if everything you had was on TikTok. That's how you got the primary of your business, how people knew about you. And then the TikTok owners were just like, I don't want to have this anymore. I'm gonna just delete everything. Everything you would have worked on and built and placed on TikTok is now gone. And this can happen for any website. This is why everybody says one of the biggest benefits to having a website is that you have all of your content, your products, everything in one area that is really up to you. And unless like maybe the internet stops working forever, or whoever is hosting it is just like, nah, we're done with this, then that's when it will go away and it's like, oh crap, what can I do? But having a website is really great for having everything that's related to you in one place. When you have a website, it means you also don't have to rely on other apps, and you can use other apps as supplements, or even like vice versa. So for example, if you have an online store and you have an Instagram storefront, you can link that Instagram storefront to your website, or even maybe vice versa. But that's one way. That way, if Instagram is down, persons can still buy from you, purchase from you by going to your website. So they may find you because they're going through maybe their explore page, or someone who's their friend has tagged you, and they click on it and like, oh my gosh, I love these shirts, or I love these products, I want to buy one. And maybe they can buy straight from there in Instagram if you have that feature, or rather they can also just go to your website and make the purchase there. Having a website and having your e-commerce set up like this means that you don't have to do like DM for orders or WhatsApp for orders. You can kind of just have a landing page and kind of streamline it in a different way that makes it more, I want to say, cohesive or easier, makes the consumer or the customer experience a better one. And also you can automate stuff as well. Then now I feel like these points are kind of flowing into each other. You can create anything you want. Your website can be a blog, it can be a store, it can be a mixture of all of these things. On the Layman's Doctor, there's a section where I talk about the business aspect, whatever services that the Layman's Doctor provides. We have several blogs that are based on categories. There's some that's based on public health, some that's really aimed for healthcare workers, and some that are aimed primarily for patients, and it's all sectioned off. I also put my podcast as well on my website, And yes, soon I will upload my podcast to YouTube. I just really haven't gotten around to it. I don't know. I feel like I have this mental block to doing it. But on the website, there's also information about me and how people can contact me. And while this information is kind of like spread out on all of my other social media, and you do have a bio, you do have a DM, you do have a contact area, the website has everything put together. And then it also helps you with your search engine optimization ranking. So if someone types in Dr. Samantha Johnson, Jamaica, it's very likely that my website is the first thing that's gonna pop up. I haven't Googled myself in a while, but I do know that when I search for the Layman's Doctor, my website and a picture of me is what comes up. Not so much sure for Samantha Johnson, because my name is very, very common. So common to the point where I couldn't actually get a domain name with SamanthaJohnson.com. And I'm very salty. About that. Anyways, it's also like a portfolio. So your website being a portfolio, if it's service-based, you can have your reviews there. You can have pictures of satisfied customers. You can have, if you have a service where maybe you do cosmetology, or you do cosmetic procedures, you can have your before and after pictures on your website, testimonials, everything like that. It's literally a portfolio that when people see, they can know so much about you, the type of person you are, and what it is that you have to offer to them. You can also really get a lot of analytics from your own website. And while a lot of websites, a lot of applications do provide you with analytic tools and give you information into analytics, you can also get this from your website. Where are people coming from? Are they searching organically? And funnily enough, when I actually look at my Google Analytics for the Layman's Doctor, a lot of people find my website through organic search, and I was just so surprised. I honestly thought that most of it would have been from me posting about it on Twitter, on Instagram, especially because I post about my podcast and whatnot. But a lot of hits to the website itself is actually through organic search. And then you can see what are people searching for, how long are they staying on your site, what are the most used things. And then you can also improve the customer experience as well when they're on the site. And I really don't want to use customer experience, because having a website isn't always about selling something, but it is about providing some type of the word isn't a product, but it's some type of value. So when you go on your website, persons are able to just get a snapshot of who you are. It's very streamlined how they can find out about you, and then oftentimes whatever they need, they can search for it, or they can user experience is the word. The user experience, you can really customize that and make it better. And that's something that's really important to me. If you go on my website right now, it's still a work in progress. It's not where I want it to be, but we'll get there eventually. So how do you get started when building your website? There are some things that you're gonna have to answer first for yourself before you know what kind of website you want to build. The first thing I would do is, even if you're like, I'm not ready for a website, or I might get a website, if you're on the fence, just buy your domain name. Literally go to name.com, GoDaddy, or wherever else, and just buy that domain name, because at least when you're ready for it, you already have it. My website, thesamanthajohnson.com, I bought that before I built the website. The same thing for drsamanthajohnson.com, which I primarily use as just my personal portfolio. I bought it before I actually made the website. So a lot of times persons do that. They'll buy the domain name, and then when they're ready to build the website, that's when they will do it. I initially had www.thelaymansdoctor.wordpress.com when I was a student, but I did in fact purchase the domain name thelaymansdoctor.com because I could afford the domain name. It was a few US dollars for the year, but I could not necessarily afford the WordPress package that allowed me to use my own domain name. every month. So what I did was I actually rewrote it so that if you went into Google and typed www.thelaymansdoctor.com, it would actually send you straight to the laymansdoctor.wordpress.com site. And that was kind of a nice way for me to be like, oh, I have a website, I have an official website, even though everything was just linking right back to my free WordPress account. So buy your domain name, and then you have to think about, do you have more time than money, or do you have more money than time? Or are you willing to spend a lot, or are you not willing to spend a lot? And spend a lot can mean in terms of money, and it can also mean in terms of time. And I think when you are making this decision, it helps to think about what type of website do you want. If you're building a website for your practice where you're gonna accept payments, you're gonna have a whole lot of things on it, it might be better to just pay someone to build the website. Not saying that you can't just build it yourself, but it might work out better for you in terms of time, headache, and cost if you just get a professional to do it and have it set up really quickly for you. If you are just starting a blog and all you want to do is write about your experiences, maybe you want to set up a quick e-store or even a physical store, you can choose to ask someone to build it for you. You can get one that you build yourself, or you can use a site like Wix or Squarespace where they have you can be free, or you can pay a monthly fee or even a yearly subscription, and then you use the tools that they have to build an easy but good looking website. I feel like persons might end up getting a lot of Squarespace, Wix, and WordPress ads on this video because of how much I'm talking about it. But when you decide on your time versus money and what you want, you can then think, and what the website is for, you can then think about, well, do I want this to be self-hosted, or do I want to host it? Self-hosted really means that you host it on a hosting site such as like SiteGround or Bluehost. And a hosting site is just somewhere that it's like a plot of land that your website lives on, versus you can get a hosted website like maybe from Wix, WordPress.com, or Squarespace, where I saw someone describe it as paying rent to have your website on someone else's website, and based on the package that you pay, you can end up getting more and more features that sometimes can end up being super expensive, just depending on what kind of package you get. But there is literally no wrong answer. You have amazing sites that are built with Wix and Squarespace and WordPress.com, and then you have amazing sites that are built from the ground up, where there's a developer, there's someone on the back end doing all the coding and whatnot, and then sometimes there's a really nice middle ground as well. And I'm definitely gonna do a video more about building your website and what options are available to you, and what you can do, and how you can kind of narrow down what's great for you. And the good thing is, because you're able to back up content, a lot of times you can just transfer your website to another website hosting service, and with minimal changes. But personally, just depending on where you are at, sometimes starting right, taking the time to think about it, can save you a lot of headache. But as I keep saying every video, just start. Literally just start, especially if you're worried about your blogs. Every blogging site that I know gives you the option to download all your blogs, and then you can actually end up re-uploading them. So that's about it. I really hope that I've helped you with your decision about getting a website. If you're even just a teensy-weensy bit on the fence, just buy your domain name and you can build a website easily anytime later. Or you can just get a landing page. I think it's really great to have a website. It can be very affordable as well to get a website, and it can really help your brand and your image and your online presence explode. And it's just a great portfolio to have. It can really help for your personal branding, your professional branding, driving customers and clients to you, and even help with like e-commerce and other things. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it, please share it with someone who you think may benefit from it. And of course, I always want to hear from you guys in the comments. What are your thoughts? Do you have a website? Do you think a website is a waste of time? Until then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.